Freddie Blassie didn't do polite. He didn't do respected veteran. He didn't even do retirement. What he did, what he perfected, was pure, unfiltered hatred. The kind that made fans throw batteries at him and made wrestlers quietly hope he'd vanish in a puff of peroxide. He wasn't just a heat magnet. He was a one-man arson with a Rolex and a vocabulary that could curdle milk. You want the blueprint for grudge-holding psychopaths in pro wrestling? Start with Blassie. Then back away slowly. He didn't just dislike people, he dismantled them. His insults didn't sting, they scarred. And if he called you a pencil neck geek, that wasn't an insult, that was a warning label. This is a breakdown of the ones who triggered real-life fury that never cooled off. He carried that bile for decades, through every interview, every promo, every hospital visit. It wasn't heat, it was hate. The kind with receipts and no return address. 3 men, no forgiveness, no survivors. Let's dig him up and put him back down harder. Freddie Blassie hated John Tolos the way a prison lifer hates the guy who talks during lockdown. Loud, smug, and permanently in the way. On screen, they were one of the most violent feuds in Los Angeles history, but backstage, it was worse. Way worse. Tolos wasn't just a rival. He was a roach in Blassie's cocaine, a constant reminder that even assholes have imitators. Blassie was the alpha, the top dog heel in LA. Then along comes Tolos, the Golden Greek, flapping his gums and spraying spit like a lawn sprinkler. He didn't just want to join Blassie's spotlight, he wanted to drown in it and baptize himself the new king. Problem was, Blassie didn't share thrones, especially not with some jock who treated wrestling like his side hustle between ego trips. Their 1971 feud in LA drew massive houses, but the heat wasn't just business. It was blood vengeance in real time. Tolos legit blinded Blassie with that infamous powder in the eyes spot. Only thing is, Blassie sold it so well, fans thought he'd never see again. He buried Tolos in every promo, called him a coward, called his mother a donkey. Allegedly told one LA radio host, Tolos couldn't sell out a urinal without me. But the worst part? Tolos believed he was better. He'd shoot on Freddie in interviews, say Blassie was outdated, a circus act, and slowing the territory down. Blassie never forgave that. The Greek geek had the balls to claim he carried their feud. Blassie responded by nearly stabbing him with a goddamn fork at the Olympic Auditorium and had to be pulled off him backstage. That's not a storyline. That's attempted utensil homicide. Even decades later, Blassie never softened. He rarely mentioned Tolos without a jab, treating their feud like unfinished business. Tolos faded from view, but Blassie held the grudge tight, and fans never forgot who walked away blinded but still swinging. Freddie Blassie didn't just hate Lou Albano, he resented him with every fiber of his Hollywood-drenched soul. To Blassie, Albano was the worst kind of hanger-on, loud, sloppy, unfunny, and somehow always standing between the camera and someone who deserved it more. Lou wasn't even in Blassie's league. Freddie was a goddamn spectacle. The original walking controversy with peroxide hair and a mouth that got him banned from half the country. Albano? He was a coked-out novelty act and a rubber band explosion. The guy looked like he'd lost a bar fight with a fishing tackle box and just kept the look. Blassie paved the way for managers. Albano clogged it with marinara and sweat. When they both landed in WWF management roles in the 80s, Blassie was the seasoned vet. Albano was the loudmouth who wouldn't shut the hell up. Not backstage, not on camera, and especially not when Freddie was trying to cut a promo. He'd interrupt, overshadow, mumble punchlines like a drunk at karaoke and somehow get more airtime. That wasn't just annoying, that was blasphemy. Freddie called Albano a clown who snuck into the circus, told people he was ruining the art of managing. And when Albano got picked to front the rockin' wrestling crossover with Cyndi Lauper, while Blassie was being benched with a cane and a chair, that sealed the grudge forever. According to Fred, Lou was a cartoon character for morons, and not in a good way. He resented how Albano got mainstream press by tripping over himself and shouting gibberish, while Blassie, the man who legit got his teeth filed into points, was suddenly background noise. Even worse, Albano thought they were equals, and that's what made Blassie's blood boil. Lou would call him pal, slap him on the back, and act like they were the same kind of legend. Blassie once told a greenhorn in the back, "You see that slob with the rubber bands? That's what happens when nobody kicks your ass early." Freddie didn't want to feud with Lou. He wanted to erase him from wrestling history and piss on the void. Freddie Blassie didn't just hate Dick the Bruiser, he viewed him as a walking betrayal in wrestling boots, The kind of guy who didn't shake hands, didn't say thank you, and didn't mind stealing your thunder, your title, and your booking sheet, all in one night. Their feud in 1964 wasn't just business. It was a full-on blood feud over territory, power, and ego. Bruiser walked into LA, beat Blassie for the WWA World title, and strutted out like he'd just pinned God. That was bad enough. But then he went home to Indiana and made his own version of the WWA title. Same name, same belt lineage, zero Blassie attached. That wasn't heat, that was identity theft with a headlock. Blassie saw it for exactly what it was, a backroom belt hijacking. He spent the rest of his career treating Bruiser like the bastard son of a handshake deal gone wrong, called him a drunk with a loud mouth and a glass jaw, told people Bruiser only drew because fans showed up hoping someone would cave his face in. And when anyone brought up Bruiser's WWA in Indianapolis, Blassie would roll his eyes and say, "Oh, that fake belt?" But the hate went deeper. These two couldn't stand each other's style. Bruiser was a bar-fighting street thug with fists like pork shoulders. Blassie? He was sharp, theatrical, and dangerous on purpose. He saw Bruiser as a caveman who got over by accident. "He made money falling down and spitting beer," Blassie said. "If I'd wrestled like that, I'd be selling used cars by 62. Even in later years, when most guys mellowed out, Blassie kept the knives sharp. He'd mock Bruiser's speech, his promos, even his physique. "That man looked like a refrigerator with arthritis," he told a Shoot interviewer in the 80s, "and moved like one too." There was never peace, no handshake, no closure. Freddie didn't want it. He wanted revenge, and when that wasn't possible, he settled for legacy, making damn sure no one forgot who held that WWA belt first. Bruiser may have taken the title, but Blassie made sure he never took the respect. Freddie Blassie wasn't just a heat magnet. He was a hate-fueled war machine who wrestled like he had a personal grudge against air. The man didn't just feud, he held court. And when he hated you, it wasn't a phase. It was a goddamn sentence. You weren't forgiven, you weren't forgotten, you were archived for destruction. Blassie never buried the hatchet. He sharpened it. Every grudge he carried became a legacy. He didn't forgive, he didn't forget, he didn't even blink. The man built a career on real-life hate and made sure every receipt got paid with interest. You weren't just an opponent, you were fuel. And once you lit that fire, he'd let it burn forever. So if you're here for blood, beef, and legends who never let anything go, or if you like your wrestling history raw, uncut, and meaner than a pissed-off Blassie with a mic, hit subscribe. Smash that like button harder than Blassie. Smash John Tolos if you think grudges should outlive careers. Around here, we don't do respectful tributes. We do verbal beatdowns and receipts with names on them. So unless you're a pencil neck geek with thin skin and no spine, subscribe now, or get out of the arena before Blassie sees you. Thanks for watching.